Hello, this is Ken Smith. I'm going to demonstrate pretty much what I used to do back in the day when I was hired to do some sessions. So I'm going to go through some kind of standard uh, uh, loops that came with the what is this? The Boss RC 300. These are the standard loops that came with it. This first one is a called modern pop. So this is what I would do when I would come into the studio and they would ask me to, lay down get my pick, lay down a track or two. So here we go. First, find out what key is in. This is when a little bit of jazz theory would come in, I guess you can say, or theory period. I would find out what key is in. This is pretty much in the key of E with a C, going from an E or C sharp minor to an E. And so that means that I probably would be in a Dorian type, no, not Dorian, Aeolian type key, the 6th degree. Although I'm seeing that yeah, I guess it would be an Aeolian. Basically, it's in the key of E, C sharp minor, E. So probably with the first track, I would play around with it to see if I can, get a feel for the track and then hit it. So I kind of know what key is in. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So here we go. was an example of one song. That's kind of like a poppy type tune. Let's go to the next tune. This says medium rock. So we play the song first. In the studio, it would be, you know, play the track and see, you know, what the key is and what kind of feel I should use, how I should approach the tune. And again, it would depend on what the client want. You know, if they want me to solo after the vocals, you know, maybe like if someone sings something da, da, and they want me to, you know, kind of add like ba, 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 da, da, da. You know, and what I look for when I'm in the studio like that, I follow the melody. Who's ever doing it, instrument, vocals, I follow the melody really closely, and I try to match my solo to that melody. And now we're talking about probably like most of the stuff is kind of like popish, you know, rock type stuff, or you know, top 40 type things that I'm using for example. So, you know, doing a bunch of flashy licks is not going to make the tune. It's going to destroy it. So I want to stay as melodic as possible. You know. So I want to stay with the, stay with the tune and add something to the song that's gonna. I always try to add something that's gonna be hummable, you know, like Layla with Eric Clapton. You can that melody sticks in your head, you know. It's the cool part of the song that you're gonna always remember. Let's go to another tune. And it says piano rock, so let's see what this is. Try to find the key first. Let me start that one over again. So we start with just the piano. And then it definitely is a plus to know what type of sound the client wants. Do they want a just clean compressed sound? Because now I got a little compression. So do they want that kind of tone? Or do they prefer a slightly overtoned sound? Or do they want a fully saturated sound? Sorry, let me start it again. Started in the wrong key again. So it depends, what kind of sound they want, what kind of feel they're looking for. Now, of course, if I was in a more studio, in a studio type situation, this reverb, not reverb, but feedback would be under control. I pretty much got my what I'm using. If I can move this and switch it around. There we go. This is my basic pedal setup, which is basically everything I need for a session. I got the OCD for my overdraft overdrive sound, the Rat for my full-on rock tone, phase 90, and I keep my phase 90 set kind of low, not making it too wobbly. Same thing for the Univibe. This Univibe pedal is a smaller version of the big Dunlop, I believe, makes it big, huge Dunlop Univibe, or the old school Univibe. They put it in a small pedal size, smaller pedal size, which I think is awesome. And then there's my H2O, which is a delay and chorus pedal, which is really cool. You can see my Super Comp MXR. Over here, this pedal is the wah pedal. This pedal is the volume pedal. Chord tuner. And I'm pretty much set. And there's the loop station that I'm using. So that's pretty much what I would take in the studio. Now there are certain times that a client, my last few sessions, well, I would say my last session, guitar session, the client just want me to basically just come in and play to his track clean. It was more like a progressive rock track, and he had his own plugins that he wanted to add in. It kind of sucks playing that way, especially if you want to get the feel of the song through your own tone, but when you're being hired, you do what the client wants. So there are some people that will request that you just play clean, and they put in the stuff later. They maybe there's been some sessions where they told me just bring a distortion pedal. Just sometimes, well, back in the day they were more direct about what they wanted. They would tell me bring in a distortion plus, bring in a Rat, and then others would tell bring in a fuzz tone or whatever. And they would add the delay and the reverb and whatever. Most of my sessions I didn't have to bring an amp. Most of the studios back in the day had a good selection of amps, or they had the amps that they wanted to use. I remember doing this one session, and this guy had I want to say it was like a Fender Champ, kind of modified a little, and I had brought matter of fact, I didn't bring anything. They told me I didn't need to bring anything for this session, and he hooked up a MXR Distortion Plus, mic'd it, went in the control room and did some kind of magic, because that thing sounded like a Marshall stack after the session was over. So there are those situations where you don't have to haul gear. I'm quite sure there are a lot of sessions where cats just take their own Mac and they got their sounds in their computer and stuff like that. The closest I've come to that was that I used to use Line 6, because Line 6 was really easy and more adaptable for a lot of digital recordings that I was doing back a few years ago. Easy to haul around, easy for the person who's hiring me, the songwriter, producer, or whatever, or engineer, to work with. A lot of times I would get that the Line 6 was more controlled. They were able to be a little bit more flexible and do things with it because it was already in kind of the digital domain. But me myself, I went back to old school, and I have a Vox over here and a good old Black Star over here, both 212s. If they need that sound, then I'll lug it. Really don't like carrying these things. But for the most part, some of my sessions, majority of the sessions, up to now have been just bring your guitar and bring maybe a pedal, you know, and like I said before, I used to use a line 6 and just had everything right there ready for them. Okay, so we're going to do another, or I'm going to do another tune. This one says Spacey Guitar, so let's see what it sounds like. So with that tune, I kind of put down the pick and I played it finger style. There's a different tone, definitely, with the, you know, the fingers versus pick. And here's with the pick. Now I use a couple of different picks. It depends on what kind of tone I'm looking for. I'm famous for using metal picks. These you can get these at Dunlop. I think, yeah, this is a Dunlop. Pick Boy, yep, this is a Dunlop. 06 millimeter. These are picks from they were made in Italy. This is a plastic, really thick pick, but the way it's made, if you can see that, if I can find the camera. You see how it's made. The string just kind of, instead of like, you know, how the string typically comes off the pick, this one really glides off. It gives a really kind of a nice tone. It's excellent. These picks are excellent for acoustic. And it does, you know, these picks do make does make it easier to play. They really just glide across the strings. These are Assesse. Am I saying it right? Assesse. Let me see if I can find a name on here. I think it's spelled E-S-S-E-T-I. Assesse. It's a pick company in Italy. I can see it says Italian design. I can't see. Oh, there's the name. Yeah, it's E-S-S-E-I-T or E-S-S-E-T-I. Pick, all one word. You know, look them up. They're great picks. They also made me some custom wooden picks. This is made out of, I think, a mahogany or something. Really great pick. This has more of a smoother attack. I use this for jazz and with the acoustic, but for everything else, I use, if I can get it from up under here, I use also I use aluminum picks. Where did I put my metal pick? Oh, here it is. So mostly I use my aluminum and metal pick. Now a lot of people think that because I use aluminum and a metal, that I go through strings. I don't. My strings will last, especially if I'm just doing studio things. I've had strings on my guitars for at least a year or so without changing them. It's how you attack your strings. If I'm really chunking the strings, then that'd be a whole different thing. But if I was really chunking my strings, it wouldn't matter what type of pick I was using, wooden, plastic, metal, aluminum. I still would go through my strings, but I have kind of a control attack. Okay, let's try another tune. This is says synth ballad. I might do this with fingers. And I'm gonna leave it on that note. As the old comedian would say, once he got a good laugh, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna exit right now while I'm still hot. But that's pretty much kind of an example of what I would do in the studio. Feel the tune out, find out what key is in, what kind of tone they're looking for, what kind of feel they're looking for, clean or distorted, saturated, what kind of, if they want a clean tone, how do they want it just dry, a little compression, little effect with a little chorus. A little delay, no delay. Now with these amps, I have my own reverb on, but there a lot of times I'm recording like this, just right. Maybe put on a little delay. I would say, in my experience, very few engineers wanted me to use delay on my guitar. They say they, can add the delay and the reverb later, because it may affect the way that they. If I have too much effect on my guitar, it may affect the way that they can mix down the tune after everything's done. So pretty much, even when I do distortion or overdrive. Sorry. Everything is dry. So you would get a good dry tone, even with saturation. They would, however, let me, or maybe ask me to put on like a little flange or phase shifter in this case. I think I'm a little bit out of tune. So yeah, I am. So modulation is kind of an option in a lot of sessions that I've done. They really prefer that I do things kind of flat, as most cats would say. Clean. And they can add the chorus or reverb or whatever, or really get a good mix of the for the rest of the tune. When I play bass on sessions, I just really maybe I'll bring my favorite direct box. It's laying around somewhere. Oh, this is the one direct box that I use a lot for a lot of the sessions I've had. This one has seen better days. It's actually needs to be replaced. There's another distortion pedal or overdrive pedal that I use. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna, wow, it's almost dinner time. I'm gonna shut down, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful. I'd like to help out the younger generation as much as I can, especially give them some little tips on being how to be a good session musician, guitarist, bassist in this case. And as always, what's gotten me through sessions is being dependable, professional, respectful, leaving my attitudes and everything like that at the door, and coming in and doing the session, doing what's required, what they want, and not wasting time. It's better. Well, it was always said when I was doing it back in the day. It's better for the producer or whoever is in charge of the session. It's better for them to waste time than you to waste their time. Well, it's better for you to let them waste your time than you waste their time. And you keep that in mind, and the other points that I brought up, you'll be fine. But this is Ken Smith, and I guess I'll see you later.